All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of What Drives You. I am one of your co-hosts, Stan Windhorn. With me, as always, my good buddy and co-host who's looking really sharp today, I might just say, Carl Bauer. Carl, how we doing today? Say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining another episode. We are, Stan, quickly approaching 125 episodes. I think this is going to be with our friend Lori, 123, 124, depending when we
Right
publish
on.
this. So, yeah, we're rolling. But
It,
welcome,
it's been a
Lori.
blast. Yeah, go ahead and do an official introduction
Oh,
of our guest
official.
there, Carl.
Yes. This Lori is amazing. I've known her for many years. We'll have to figure out exactly how many years, but we met when she worked for a radio company. Her husband was partners in a little dealership, and we won't talk about that, but that's where we met just out and about in the street because we both sold to car dealers in Chicago. So, Lori, welcome to What Drives You. Thanks for
Thank
joining.
you. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Stan, for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, Carl, we go back and I'm just gonna really bring you back because that was 1992.
92. Well, I got in the space with Auto Illustrated. So that's when so you're a year ahead of me because I was 93
Yeah.
is when I got into Auto Illustrated and then serviced all those guys out in at the auto stop. Wasn't that the name of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the name of it. Yes.
Anyway,
I like to forget that.
Well, I am sure we're going to hear a lot about your career, Lori, but I'll
Yes.
just from what I've learned already, you have my respect because first of
Thank you.
all, the automotive industry, I think, is a really great one, but it's not for everybody. You know, it takes a special person to make their living here. And with all due respect to women in automotive, someone who's been in the business as long as you have, whether they're a man or a woman, I think is very impressive. But I also think there's an extra notch of respect for a woman the automotive industry is
Yeah.
typically sort of male dominated. So just the fact that you've been able to have a career that long as a female, I think that's worth
Thank
commending
you,
you for.
Stan.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
cool.
that was a long time ago when I got in, like in 92. Yeah, worked for a company called D&B Auto Radio. Actually went into all the dealers, sold it was really aftermarket products. And I'm gonna take you guys back when cars didn't have anything in them, right? So we sold remote starts and keyless entries, and we took out the radios and we did some other things for them, but it was truly an aftermarket company, and was there for many years and really learned to walk into these dealers, and there was not many women walking in. That I can count them on my one hand, and that's probably going high back in the day.
You know, since we're on that subject, though, one of the things that I have found, and I don't know everybody in the industry, but the women that I do know who have been in the industry for a length of time, they're they're pretty damn good at what they do. And maybe that is because it's such a tough business for anybody, but then the women who do make it, there's a reason why. They're
And
pretty
I've
pretty
worked with
good at
some
what they're doing.
amazing women. I really have through my years, and I still talk to a
Yeah.
lot of them today. And we
Yeah,
we
me too.
cross paths through other companies. But yeah, it's not even, it takes a certain person to do that. This is a great industry. And there's some really, really good dealers out there and some really
Mhm.
good people. And I'm grateful and blessed that I got 33 years so far in it.
yeah.
Nice.
Hey, Lori, we'll talk about the women in automotive,
Yes.
not only there's an actual association. We'll touch on that in a minute. We were pre-gaming before talking about the event coming up in Austin. But do you think as a woman, and Stan knows this because and Lori, you know this too, but I'm married and I have two daughters, so I've been living with three women for a long time. So I'm always intrigued by their perspective. And I think if you had not been successful, do you think you would have stuck around 33 years? And Stan, to give you a little context, every company that Lori's gone to, that as long as I've known her, she's always
Yeah.
excelled. She's never
Yeah.
really, not she's perfect, none of us are perfect, but
No,
she's
a lot
always
of hard work.
hard work and talented and a talker and a hustler. But you've always kind of been moving up or started at a position of
Yeah.
authority as opposed to like 18-year-old Lori who like walked in and got her brains beat in, right? So do you
Yeah.
think, back to the original question, if you'd not had excelled or been successful, you would have stuck it out for 33 years?
That's a really good question, and I'm not sure about that. I truly am not. I knew that I loved the industry, and I still love it today. And I believe that I did work for some amazing companies. Some of them you all know, starting with, Vin Solutions for many years, which is a Cox Automotive company, and went out selling CRM when the dealers had no CRM. They had an ILM and an inventory tool. And I was one of the very first people to get on the street for them. And again, it was a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work, and a lot of working with people that had my back. So it was fun and it was successful. And yeah, my goal every year was, do the best I can and make President's Club, and make a lot of money so I could pay my bills and you know do everything I needed to do back in the day. But it was a great company and it still is a good company. And I still walk into dealers, and I actually did do this a month ago, walked into a dealer that I sold Vin Solutions back to in 2010. It's
Mm.
2026 and they still have it today. So I believe in reputation and trust, and I think they trust me. And now I'm going in, obviously selling something different, but they know that I've sold them something that they still use today, and that's a long time.
Yeah.
So,
It is.
yeah.
Were you there, Lori? Just real quick, not to go too far down the Bin Solutions Love Fest commercial here, but were you there when they got acquired?
I was there and I was in Kansas City when it happened.
Okay, because I was in Jim Ziegler had an event, so I was with Sean, all the guys at his
Yep.
what was I forget the name of his events that they had, but we were in Kansas City, I thought, and they
Yes.
went bonkers. I mean, not only did that announcement happen during the event, those guys went out and partied like it was 1995, and it was
I was there. I
yeah,
was there at that time.
okay.
Yes, it was a crazy time. Yes, it was.
And then to your point, they take off, and they're still one of the top CRMs in the
Yes.
space, which again has had a long running um, uh, top three, I would
Yeah,
say, CRMs in the industry for a long, long
absolutely.
time. So yeah, good job.
Yeah.
Um, Stan, you look like you're gonna jump in there.
Well, first of all, I think we can't always assume that everybody listening to this knows the automobile industry. So would one of you like to
Sure.
explain for our audience what a CRM and you know how I feel about TLAs, three-letter acronyms.
Fire away.
Go,
Lori, you
Carl.
go. All right. Well, for those of you who don't know, this episode, I mean this channel started out as primarily an automotive thing for me to vent during COVID, but it has turned into way more than that. And most of our guests are really just success stories. How do they drive themselves in life? What gets them up in the morning? What motivates them? But in this instance, we got a double blessing, which is Lori is a hustler and is a hard worker and a survivor, and she's in the automotive. So we use a lot of acronyms.
Yes.
CRM is a customer retention management
Management,
system.
yes, system.
A DMS is a dealer management system. So there's a lot of acronyms around what we do because if we said those words all the time, we would
Yeah.
sprain
And,
our.
and
What
it,
I
it
found
truly,
interesting about this is your first job was you were selling aftermarket products that most of us take for granted that they're in your car automatically now. They're not
yeah,
aftermarket,
now,
they're in
yeah,
now. And then you started selling CRMs before dealers even knew what that was. And I mean, when's the last time you talked to a dealer that did not have a CRM now? So
no,
you've
everybody
been on the
has one.
cutting edge all the time.
Yeah, no, truly. And I'm grateful for that I got to be in and sell a product at the bottom, as I say, the ground floor, right? And really take it to the next level. And so yeah, I am very grateful for that. And then work for some other companies. There's plenty, and really not plenty. I've been to 5 companies in 33 years. So whenever Carol and I had this conversation of being a hopper in this automotive industry, I wouldn't call myself a hopper. I've stayed, 7 years here, 5 years here. I went to Auto Alert selling data mining. Then I went to reputation.com, and was there for 6 years and helped them with their OEM programs and their dealerships and large dealer groups. Um, I started out as an individual contributor, moved my way to say, listen, I think there's more for me. I love mentoring people. And so I took that pretty much, I would say, more at the reputation.com stage, and had anywhere from 8 people to doing a GMSFE program that had 40 people that I was helping run this program to bring $4 million in.
Yeah,
So,
I want to touch on the reputation. So for anyone who doesn't know, Autoalert's just kind of an equity mining, data mining company. It's a neat company, and they were sort of first to market in their space too. They're still out there now. There's some competitors. I don't know that they're the dominant force anymore. But Reputation.com, when you went there, I was so excited because it's not just automotive. I know you went there
no.
for automotive, but it's a big company that does reputation
Yeah.
reviews, which is the new word of mouth, right? So tell us about that experience at
You
Reputation.
know, and reputation.com was truly was the first one to come out back in the day. Michael Furtek started that company. Yeah, I worked there for many years, and they were pretty smart at it. When I walked in the door, they were, they had a ton of dealers already. But yes, they weren't just automotive. They were doing property management and healthcare and real estate and, so on, and so many other verticals. But automotive was their number one vertical that they knew that they could really take a bite out of.
Hmm.
And they did. So they got in with the OEMs. Stan, do you know what an OEM is? Or do I have to go and tell you the acronym?
I know what a
Okay,
CRM
good.
and an
Okay, good.
OEM is,
Just
but
assuming.
I'll bet you there's a lot of people watching right now who don't know what OEM stands for. I would like to share it, just so you know that I know.
Original equipment
The manufacturer. Oh, when
manufacturer.
people in the car business say OEM, for those of you not in the car business, what they're talking about is the builder of the car. So Toyota would be
Yes.
an OEM, Ford would be an OEM, Chevy would be an OEM. That's what we mean by OEM.
So yeah, going back to Reputation, it was a great company. Listen, we were the voice for these dealers all over the country and for those manufacturers. They did surveys and business listings, Google business listings, and it was a pretty strong company when I was there.
Yeah. It's funny because are you trying to say that dealers don't have a good reputation? Is that why they needed reputation?
Some of them do
Yeah.
not. And I would have dealers call me and say, Lori, help me. How do I get rid of these negative reviews? And I said, hmm, that's called Google gating, and we can't do that. But I would get a lot of positive reviews so that you can bury the negative ones. You know,
Yeah.
Google changes daily, and there's a lot of, different things to be doing with that. So, yes, it was very, very interesting that how we kind of really went back after the dealer and said, listen, we'll give you the tools how to use your employees inside to get good reviews. Do it while there's the customer sitting there
Yeah.
and they're in the ether, right?
Yeah.
And they're happy, ask for that review right there. Don't
Yep.
wait 2 weeks after and they forget about who you are. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a powerful tool. And it really, there's, to your point about Google algorithms, and Stan and I are learning that a lot about that just with our YouTube channel is the keywords and the frequency and the
Yes.
content, the consistency and the transparency, all those things matter in search. I don't know that they're mattering now as much with AI, and we can touch a little bit on that later, but I still think it's important when I look at something and I'm looking apples to apples. I'm doing this online course talking about online shopping. If I see an apples to apples same product, I'm looking proximity, I'm looking Google reviews, besides the price, right? The price has got to be close, but if the proximity is good and the ranking is better, I may drive further or closer. Just so it's very important. It's like I said, the online digital word of mouth. So
Yeah,
it's key.
it
Definitely.
is key. Yeah, and you know what? Dealers know that. They know what they need to do today. Um, yeah, it's not always a great thing, and the experience, it's all about the experience, right? So when you
Yep.
walk in that dealership, you want a good experience, the front of the house or the back of the house, sales or service, whatever it might be. You as a customer out there wants to be taken care of and, be happy. And then what are you going to do? You're going to refer your friends and family, right? So
Yep.
that's what that's all about. It's all
Yeah.
about referrals today.
Yeah, Stan, and on that note, not to go too far down this rabbit hole, I was telling Lori about some guest hosts and women in automotive and all that. So she's going to help us with that too, with
Yes.
her referrals, which is going to be
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
And that
Nice.
kind of segues into women in automotive, which I know you're involved in. So you said earlier on the conversation you love mentoring people, and you're at a
Yeah.
point now where you've been successful. You took some time off. We talked the other day when you're on the phone. And we're all. I'm about to turn 60. Stan's a little older than me,
I
but
just turned 60.
so there you go. So we're right there. But
You youngins,
Yeah. I don't know.
you're
It's
a
a little
couple of
hard, Stan.
youngins.
Yeah.
But what was intriguing, and Stan just went through this personally, and you just went through it too. You still have the energy today of when I met you, and you just said you went through this whole thing. You left your last company, and you had some time, and you did eight
I
or ten
did.
interviews. So let's kind of talk about that for a minute before we
Yeah.
get to
So,
women.
yeah, I had a hard time, left my last company and really had to step back and gather my thoughts and where I wanted to go. And I actually said to somebody, I'm like, when I grow up, this is what I want to be. Well, I listen, I do. I love this industry. I want to stay in this industry. I want to end my career in this industry, and I plan on doing that. Yes, I went after, and I went after a lot of them, and then they came back after me, but word got out that I was a free agent. I had 8 interviews in 8 weeks. Um, you know, I I'm going to say this, couldn't some of these companies get somebody that's younger and for a lot less money? Maybe. And I'm being honest today. You guys want my
Yep.
truth? That's my truth. I knew why maybe some of those things, maybe they think I'm at the end. I still got some time here. And I know that I could help somebody take their company to the next level. I just need a voice and a seat at the table. And that is where I'm going to end that piece too, because being in this industry for 33 years, that's what I think I deserve and what I believe I need is a voice and a seat at the table. And I did get to a new company and I've got it.
Well,
They truly want, they truly want to hear from me, and how I can help. So
Lori, you know what? After this many years, we know some stuff and we can share some stuff.
yeah,
We can give back some stuff. Stan has a theory. Stan, tell her your theory about when you just were going through your experience, which I think is interesting about just age and experience and even costs. Like and I'll
Yeah.
prompt you if you forget or you can't remember
Well,
what.
yeah, I mean, I just found it very difficult to even get through the original algorithms. Everybody, I mean, we're talking about being referred by some of the top people at the company that's hiring. I mean, you couldn't
yeah,
ask for
yeah,
a better referral, but I had to go through the process. And I would never hear anything. I mean, there were literally jobs where I'm like, they might as well just say, I need a guy just like Stan Windhorn. And I couldn't even get an interview. And I'm like, what's going on? I actually, a good friend of mine from college is a trainer and motivational speaker. He was doing a seminar here in Austin and invited me to it. And it was filled with HR people. And
wow.
I shared with the HR people the struggle I was having with this, and they all started kind of giggling. I'm like, what? They're like, you're too old. I
Hmm.
said, what do you mean? They go, you are too old. And I said, well, I didn't think that was legal. They go, it isn't,
It
but we
isn't.
can tell from your experience, from all the things on
Yep.
your resume, the algorithms can tell that you're too old, which could mean number one, you this part I don't get because my experience with the younger generation is they only stick with a job for a very short period of time anyway. But they're
Yeah.
worried about your ability to stay with a job for a long time, even though I've got a proven track record of staying with companies
Yes.
for a long time. But the other thing is you're going to be too expensive. They
Yes.
don't want to pay you for your wisdom and your experience because they think they can get something just as good or similar for a lot less with younger
And I
people.
had many recruiters in those 8 weeks tell me the same thing.
Yep.
I also
Yep.
had a recruiter tell me it's because I'm a woman
Hmm.
and I'm going to want too much money. And I
Yeah.
said,
The
you know,
Here's
Yeah,
the crazy
well,
thing, though, you
they
guys.
were unanimous
shame
about
on
that, though.
you.
The entire room, there was probably 30 of these HR people, and then they were all in agreement going, yeah, you don't even make it through the first step.
Yeah.
That
So
boggles
I'm
my
The
too old
mind.
and I'm a
algorithms.
woman. So that was going against me. I know on some of them. So, it is what it
Yeah.
is. I can't change them, their thinking on that, other than you better believe that I could roll over some of these people in these jobs. And I know that
100%.
for a fact that
Yeah,
I
oh,
will
yeah.
bring in and I will close deals way faster than some of these younger people
Yeah.
yeah. So, but
Stan, you should, when Lori goes to these events, especially NADA, the energy and the competitive nature of her, it's just mind blowing because she is just first one at the booth, last one at the booth, and here's how much money I put up today, and here's
yes.
the ARR on that. It's just, and I know
Yeah.
that's from some of the people you hung around with and the companies you worked for,
Yes.
Mr. Stapleton and some of those folks.
I had
But
some great mentors that
yeah,
said, you know, go to the end, do what you have to do. As
yeah.
Mr. Stapleton always said, you have, two ears and a mouth. He always said that to me. Make sure you're listening and that you end. He probably doesn't remember he said that to me once, but it sticks with me today.
Well,
Um, so
and
yeah,
here's the thing about people of our age and our era, right? All our kids are grown. I'm 24/7, whatever I'm working on. I'm if I'm sick, I was already sick, right?
okay.
We are so much more reliable, knowledgeable, dependable.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to be more because we just worked for 30 years in an industry. But if that more translates to I can hit the ground running like you are, Lori, and you're putting money on the books the day you freaking start, that's a benefit as opposed to, well, I got to get 6 months under my belt before I figure this out. No,
No,
forget
and
that.
actually, I'm at this place a month and I've already closed deals. I closed my first big deal yesterday, and it's a big group here in Chicago.
Good.
So,
There you go.
listen, I always say, and I learned a lot from my father. I'm not the smartest person in the room, and I know I'm not. God knows. But I surround myself with smart people, and if that makes the team, team works faster, smarter, better, so be it, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. It's about a team. It's not about Lori Berkson herself.
Yeah.
But I do have bills to pay, so there you go. And I like to
Hey,
shop.
yes, you do. She is
Yeah.
a snappy dresser, Stan.
There you go.
Um, so Lori, you're at this stage in your career where you've been successful, you put numbers up, you're still cranking. How do you give back? How do you give back to the women? What just we alluded to it earlier. We've got a conference coming up here in a few weeks in Austin for women in automotive. It could probably be women in any industry, but really it's about automotive. So how did you get connected to that, and what do women in automotive do?
Yeah, many, many years ago, and it's gone through its stages. I do believe what they have today, Veronica and Gary May, have what they put together here with the rest of their team. It's a really great organization now, and you truly walk away with some amazing information, nuggets, things that you could take with. And it's not always about just automotive, but it's about life, right? I just spoke at Women in Automotive. They had a time when they did it in Chicago here a few weeks ago. It was probably about, yeah, a little over a month ago. And I spoke about my time in the industry. Well, that I had some women after the fact, the last few weeks, reach out to me asking me for help. Just started out, been in this industry. How could I help them? They loved to hear my story, what I was talking about, and just how I came up the ranks. And again, selling myself and selling as a team and becoming a VP of sales. And they like to hear from me. And it was so moving for me. That was probably one of the best things to know that they called me and they wanted to pick my brain and they wanted to talk to me. And I'm going to meet some of them back at Women in Automotive in July in Austin. So really excited about it.
Did you ever have, and Stan, we got to start asking this more because it's intriguing to me. Did
Hmm.
you ever have or hire or I know you mentioned mentors, but did
Yeah.
you ever like, hey, I need a mentor, like go seek someone out who's like just out there as far as there's no way in the world they could talk to you and they actually took the time to mentor you long term. And the reason I'm asking that is I never did. And I want, like, I think I would have loved to have had one, and shame on me for not pursuing one harder or hiring one. But the fact that those people, they're brave to reach out to you
Yeah.
because you could just say, yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm too busy, pound sand, whatever.
No,
But
I was
you
happy.
offered, yeah. So
I think I've just taken a lot from everybody, right? Again, surrounded myself with smart people. And a lot of them were men. And I can go on and name them all. And then a lot of them were women. And I started out with, and I talk about this, and if she sees this, she'll understand. Anissa Collins started with her day one at Vin Solutions. You want to talk about one of the smartest car women in this industry? It's her. Like she taught me things, and I'm sure I taught her some things on the other side, but she was one of them, and I still tell her that to this day. We just talked about it a month ago. She goes, "You talked about me?" And I said, "Yeah." Because I really picked up a lot more about. I never worked inside a dealership. I've only sold as a vendor to the dealers for the last 33 years. So I didn't really know the car lingo when I got in. I probably didn't even know how to open up a laptop, really. But just starting out and learning, I was a sponge. I'm like, I wanted just to hear from everybody. So, everybody in this industry, I think I picked up from, again, men and women, not just women themselves. So, I think I got a little bit of everybody inside me. I feel it
Yeah,
today.
I think if you're a curious learner and you're a lifelong learner, you're going to pick up something. I always tell people that from any job that you get fired or a failure or whatever. Hey, man, as long as you picked something up and learned and don't repeat
Yes.
it, that's value.
Yeah.
Even if you were treated poorly or it was a bad breakup, whatever, just take something from that experience and learn and just try not to let it happen again. We're not always in
And listen,
control.
I made plenty of mistakes in my 33 years, and you learn from them, right? I mean, yeah, some of it was really good, but I had some mistakes and realized, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or and you go back and you think about it. Um, I've always made a good living, and so I'm grateful for that. And that's what this industry has given me. But I've sold products that I believe in, that I have passion for. I truly believe that today, and that brought me to where I am today is CarClicks, and this is the reason why I came here, is why I chose them out of the eight different companies I talked to, and I had a few offers. And I believe in this and what they're doing and what they've done. So kind of
Yeah,
brings
so that
it kind of brings me full circle.
good segue into that. So what are your car clicks is your current gig? Tell us a little bit about that, why you like
Yeah.
it, what do they do,
Number
and
one, they
how.
are a little under the radar in the Chicagoland area, but they have 1,400 dealers. And they have some big dealers all over the country. They are a very profitable company, 45 employees, and been around since 2009.
Hmm.
So they've been around forever. They have autosales.com, which is they have never really marketed to, and they use it. They are true data guys, Mike McDonald and David McGarry, and you want to talk about two of the smartest data guys I have ever met. And I've worked for some really smart guys in this industry. But when I heard what they've done and and what they're doing, I knew that I could be that piece, hopefully, to bring them to where they need to go to.
But are they, I guess, let me drill down a little further. Are they a social media company? Are they a
Yeah,
pay-per-click company? Are they
yeah,
what?
no, digital marketing. So what we do is we help dealerships sell more vehicles by delivering high targeted in-market shoppers, okay,
Okay.
directly to that dealership's inventory. It's platform based. We drive them to the VDP, we increase the lead volume and we go through that whole thing. But we are truly driving in-market shoppers to the dealerships VDP pages, to their websites. And this comes full circle for them that we're able to give some really important information back to the dealer. And that's what we're doing. We use proprietary audience in market data, and we don't waste it on impressions and clicks and that type of information. And we're giving some really powerful information back to the dealer. So we are truly driving that to the dealers today.
So Stan, VDP, you want to cover the VDP?
Vehicle detail page.
There you
There
go.
you go.
See if they took.
Most dealerships today are spending thousands of dollars on advertising without knowing exactly where their marketing source is going. Makes
Yeah.
sense, Dan? Like where that's going. CarClick changes that whole world. We deliver highly targeted and market shoppers directly to that dealership's inventory. Now, Lori Berkson is now in your area. She leaves she leaves that website and she goes to TMZ. She's going to the Weather Channel. She's going to the sports page, whatever it might be. We're following that customer journey all the way to the end. And we are able to give that information back. And we have
You
some
know,
secret sauce here that wait till these dealers find out because I'm about to come out of the gates with it.
Lori,
Yeah.
I'd just like to make a suggestion that maybe you should try to find a little passion about
I know. I am
what you're
very passionate
selling,
about this one.
and maybe try to get your enthusiasm up just a smidge about
I
your the
told you I'm going
product.
out with a bang this one.
It's no wonder you sell so much. And listen, one of the things I want to touch on that I've been preaching forever, in fact, this is a personal thing for me too, is I have to believe in the product that I'm selling.
I agree.
If I don't, not only can't I sell it, I won't sell it. If you are selling something that you don't believe is a good deal for the person you sell it to, then shame on you. You're the kind of person that gives salespeople a bad name. But
Right.
if I do believe in that product, get out of my way. Yep.
That's how I feel at this point.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so I'm ready
Well,
to
in
go.
inventory, we all know Stan's been doing this long enough too now with auto. It controls everything. It's really, yes, reputation's important. Yes, calls to action on your
Yeah.
website. Yes, ease of use on the website, all that stuff. But if you don't have your inventory displayed properly with the right descriptions and the right photos and the right places and the right price, nobody's finding you, right?
True. I just looked at a dealer that we have here in Chicago. We truly drove in market shoppers that never would have gotten to his website. 2,600 for the month of I believe it was the month of May. So yeah, it was the month of May, 2,600 at an 86%. So
Hmm.
think about that. Those people never were going to get to him, and we truly drove that traffic. When we say drove, I mean we assisted in it. I'm never going to go tell a dealer that I sold a car for them. They don't want to
Right.
hear that. They say that all the time. And that's not who we are. But we're going to assist in that car being in the inventory and leaving the inventory. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
It's that introduction, that referral, that,
Hmm.
it's the opportunity, right? Really is what it is to sell, to talk to or engage with the customer. That's key because
Yeah,
it's swings of the bat, right? If I
right.
don't get enough swings, I'm not going to even get on first base. So
And what are
yeah,
all the dealers saying lately? That's all I've been hearing. The noise is, oh, we don't got enough leads. We don't got enough leads. You hear
yeah,
it all the time, right, Carl? You've been hearing it forever.
yep. Well, the two things I hear is that some of them get because they buy crap, they get too many leads, but they're crap. But
Exactly.
that's few and far between. The other issue is just the inventory at this time. So let's speaking of inventory, we kind of wrap up or at least kind of
Yeah.
touch on these subjects here. So Stan, you want to fire away at our rapid fire questions? We prepped Lori a little bit on this, and
All
Lori
right,
again, just
Laura. Here's our
thank you.
questions. We ask nearly every one of our guests these questions, and boy, do they come fast. She
I'm
looks
ready.
not even close to being intimidated. Okay. What was your first car that you ever owned?
A Toyota Celica with
Wow, I think
T-tops.
that's our first Celica. With what?
With T-tops. It had like
Oh,
it had
T-tops.
T-tops.
Was it a
I thought you
GT?
said
It
teacups. I'm
must
like,
have
well,
been a
that's weird.
GT. It was blue,
Yeah,
powder blue.
nice.
Nice. First Celica I think we've had
Yeah.
Well,
in that
that's because I'm
question. All right.
60.
All right. What has been your favorite vehicle that you've ever owned?
Oh, you know what? I really loved my Jaguar F-Pace. I really did.
Hmm.
I'm not driving that
Yeah.
today, but I really like that car.
Yeah.
It
Did
was like
you
perfect size for me. It was a great car.
did you carry a mechanic along with you with the Jaguar?
No, but I leased it, knew not to buy it. Like, you're not supposed to be buying those. Kind of
Yeah,
like you don't buy EVs today. You only lease them, right?
yeah.
All right. Here's the next one. If money was no object, what would
Ooh.
be your dream vehicle?
My dream vehicle would be something convertible because it's enough that I've been driving these SUVs. My husband just got rid of his Corvette for the first time in our 34 years. He had
Whoa.
other cars in between. Yes, he went electric. Um, I was not a fan. Don't get me wrong. I was not a fan of that sitting in that low Corvette. It was a nice car, the new one, but yes. But my dream car would be something convertible. I truly loved when he did for a hot minute have a 650 Beamer that was a convertible. It was really nice to drive that for a while, but yeah.
All right. Well, fair
Yeah.
enough. All
Yeah.
right,
Right,
Carl,
top.
you're up, man. Words of wisdom.
All right, so Lori, we wrap all this stuff, and obviously I've known you a long time, and I know you're successful and you're hungry and you're a great example to women in our space for sure. So, what would freshly minted 60-year-old Lori Berkson tell 18-year-old Lori that you know now that you wish you would have known then? This can be some to some people it's just a mission statement or a vision statement. Some
I
it's
said it
more in
already,
depth.
and I'm going to say it again for all women out there. Have a voice and try to have a seat at the table because in a male-dominated industry, it's not so easy sometimes. And I say that nicely, and I love all the men that I have worked with all my years, but I'm gonna be honest, it's every woman should have that voice, have that respect, do your job and enjoy what you're doing. Wake up and enjoy what you're doing, truly. Wake up and love what you do. Um, I found a new love with coming to Car Clicks. I really do. I'm so happy this last, since I've been here. I feel like I have a purpose and having a purpose and having a voice for even young girls today. I don't have any girls. I have a daughter-in-law that's about to have a baby in September. I'm having a baby girl. I keep telling everybody that.
Nice.
So, that's I've worked my whole life. My father taught me work hard, play hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I tell that to my boys today, and they both do that. They both work extremely hard. So
Nice.
you want
Well,
more
you're
things in
setting a
life.
heck of an example for them there,
Thank
Lori.
you. Thank
I
you.
can
Yeah, my
tell.
my little one's trying to get into sales, and I said, nobody better to teach you sales than your mother.
There you go.
Right.
Well, Lori, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be
Thank
on
you
this
for having me,
episode of
Stan.
What Drives You.
It was so nice meeting you. And Carl, thank you so much. And I appreciate the time and I appreciate having my voice here.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah. You
appreciate
always
you too.
go ahead, Stan.
Nope, you go.
I was going to say, you always have a voice here. You always have a seat at our table. We're looking forward to other women in automotive and women in any business. Stan and I both still have our moms alive. My mom's turning 93 this month in a few days.
Enjoy every
Uh,
minute.
and so, what I learned from my mother, and I think Stan has a similar journey
You're
with
gonna
his
make me
mom,
cry.
is
I just lost my mom 3 months ago.
yeah, it's we're blessed. But
Yeah.
my mom had a voice. I have this old picture. I got to get that, Stan. We got to put that somewhere, which is she ran an organization that was, it's so funny because it's like her in the 70s with her little velour suit on or
Oh,
whatever those were, and eight old white men in suits, board members, because she ran a children's home in Chicago back before men were
yeah.
doing any of it. I mean, women were doing any of this stuff. So she's always had a voice. She's always had a seat at the table, and she's just been an example to many, many women in the
I love that
nonprofit
story.
space. Yeah, it's just, so I'm super comfortable around powerful women, I guess is what I'm trying to
Thank
say.
you.
There you go. Well, again, Lori, thank you for your time today. Carl, always good to see
Thank
you.
you.
And everyone, we want to thank you for joining us on this edition of What Drives You. And as we always like to say, remember, be good humans to each other. See you next time.